A very good evening and welcome to this Wednesday evening's edition of Primetime News live on News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening and welcome. I am Shaheen Rangpati. Let's start off the look at tonight's headlines.
President says capital punishment will be imposed on drug racketeers despite objections from various factions. Proposal to establish a national government and increase the number of ministers to be debated in Parliament tomorrow amid strong objection from the opposition. Dubai press reveals of a person holding a diplomatic passport being arrested along with Makandure Madush. Dudley Sirisena issues a warning.
ලබන මාර්තු 31 වෙද්දී තමුන්නාන්සේලාගේ තියෙන ගනුදෙනුව බේරගන්න මයික්‍රෝ ක්‍රෙඩිට් කාර්යෝ ගහලා එළවන මේවම මගේ නායකත්වයෙන් මම මෙහෙවනවා කියන කිතාවක් කීමෙන් කියනවා.
And for those stories in detail now, President Maithripala Sirisena says that capital punishment will be imposed on drug peddlers despite the objections raised. Making a special statement in Parliament, the head of state expressed the following views.
Illegal narcotic substances such as marijuana, cocaine, hashish and ice have spread in the country. During the past 1.5 years, I requested the respective institutions to hand over a list of death row inmates, but this was continuously delayed. During the next 2 months, we will be able to implement the death penalty based on these reports. I have made a firm decision to impose capital punishment despite the objections. It is wrong if human rights organizations appear on behalf of those who are engaged in criminal activities, drug peddling and the underworld when steps are being taken to eradicate these menaces. We deployed the STF after the inmates in Velikada were transferred to Angunukola Palace due to their unruly and uncontrollable behavior. After we deployed the STF, our Human Rights Commission, the commission which has been appointed to safeguard all of us, questioned the head of the STF as to why and on whose instructions the STF officials were deployed to Angunukola Palace. So far, 12 justices were rejected by the Constitutional Council, but the reason as to why they were rejected were neither informed to me nor those 12 judges. Judges in our judicial system, in magistrates' courts, district courts and high courts are despondent. It is because no matter how committed and dedicated these judges are, their promotions are being rejected without a valid reason. Following a statement I made in this regard, Honorable Speaker Karu Jayasuriya wrote to me a 4-page long letter. In the letter he states that the seniority is not considered when promoting judges. He says that the Constitutional Council promotes judges based on the talents, skills and capabilities they possess. Based on what does the Constitutional Council determine the talents and the capabilities of the judges? But according to what I heard, if these promotions are not being granted, citing that these judges are incompetent based on previous court orders, I believe that it will create a catastrophic situation in the judicial system of our country. The Criminal Investigations Department is successfully carrying out the investigations into the attempted coup to assassinate Gotabaya Rajapaksa and myself. The investigations have been carried out in a swift manner during the first 2 months after I took over the police. The final step of the investigation was to record a statement from me, and 4 days ago the CID recorded my statement. So I believe that in 2 weeks the entire country will come to know about this. The report will be handed over to the Attorney General, and I believe that the Attorney General will do the needful thereafter.
The College Times reported today that among the group that was apprehended along with underworld leader and drug kingpin Makandure Madush was a visitor carrying a diplomatic passport. College Times also reported that the Dubai police had confirmed the suspects were in their custody.
The police announced yesterday that notorious drug peddler and organized criminal leader Makandure Madush and 24 others had been arrested along with a stock of narcotics at a hotel in Dubai. However, in today's edition of the College Times, it is stated that only 20 suspects are in police custody. College Times also stated that among the suspects arrested was a visitor carrying a diplomatic passport and a popular singer, Amal Pereira. It further stated that the raid was carried out as a joint operation by the Dubai police and the Sri Lankan law enforcement authorities. The College Times also reported that Sri Lankan authorities are currently holding discussions with Dubai to extradite the apprehended suspects to Sri Lanka. The police said that steps are being taken by the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to coordinate the next steps to be taken with regard to the 25 suspects apprehended. The police confirmed that the arrested group includes 5 mainstream drug peddlers, including Angoda Chuti and Kanjipane Imran. Police said the suspects were arrested during a party held for Markandure Madush's son. The Khalij Times newspaper of the United Arab Emirates had published a controversial news report. The report states that a person holding a Sri Lankan diplomatic passport was arrested along with Markandure Madush. I would like to ask the leader of the House and the government as to who is this Sri Lankan diplomat who was arrested along with this drug dealer Markandure Madush.
Following the arrest of Markandure Madush, views regarding former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran and former Ambassador Udayanga Veeratunga were expressed in Parliament today.
Who are the perpetrators who have been accused of several crimes including theft, murder, misappropriation of state funds and money laundering, and have been prosecuted by at least one court in Sri Lanka and are currently overseas to escape from the judicial proceedings? What are the charges brought against these individuals? Who held government positions among these individuals? Who was responsible in appointing such individuals to their respective positions? What steps have been taken to bring the identified wrongdoers to Sri Lanka?
The
Attorney General informed me that this information was to be obtained from the 32 High Courts and 49 Magistrates Courts in Sri Lanka. I hope to submit information regarding this matter after I receive them. The step that is taken in general to bring back wrongdoers who are currently overseas is issuing a red alert through Interpol. This was done upon court orders. If a suspect is currently residing in a country that has an extradition agreement with Sri Lanka, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has made requests to the respective countries to facilitate the extradition of these individuals from their respective countries. This is the official website of the International Criminal Police Organization, more commonly known as Interpol. However, based on the information that can be accessed by the public, the website does not reveal any information regarding the issuance of a red alert on Arjuna Mahendran or Udayanga Veeratunga or Markandure Madush. They have arrested Markandure Madush, who has been accused of drug dealing and murder. If our local security forces based in Dubai can intervene and make an arrest, what steps have been taken to arrest Udayanga Veeratunga, Arjuna Mahendran and Jalia Vikramasuriya?
The
Prime Minister is using his usual tactics to get away from this topic. However, the Prime Minister failed to report to Parliament regarding Arjuna Mahendran. The Prime Minister has gone to the extent of protecting the relatives of Mahinda Rajapaksa in order to protect his friend Arjuna Mahendran. Following the arrest of Markandure Madush in Dubai, they have posted on social media websites requesting that these perpetrators be punished in Dubai itself instead of extraditing them to Sri Lanka. Regardless of the untiring efforts of the STF or intelligence units, even if the perpetrators are extradited to Sri Lanka, there is a possibility of them escaping. On one hand, he may escape through the loopholes of the local legal system. Or on the other hand, even if he is to be punished through law, there is an ad hoc executive power known as the presidential pardon. In October 2011, when the STF went to Negombo and raided houses belonging to a provincial councillor of the Western Province and a few of his relatives, the president of the country at the time, who was also the Minister of Defence, comes there in a helicopter and embraces this provincial councillor. The main problem in the country is the fact that people who rob the money of the general public in the country and engage in many corrupt activities, sometimes even with the consent of high-ranking officials, get bail from courts, go overseas and do not return. What is the government doing about that? That is the question on the minds of the people of this country. You do not have an answer for this. What has been done to bring back Mahendran? Hundreds of people who go to Singapore from Sri Lanka see him in the supermarkets there. They see him on the street. They see him at various banks. What has this government done for 5 years to bring him back? If Mahendran isn't brought back and tried at a court in this country, the United National Party can never win an election in this country. You can't win a single election. Has the Interpol been informed of Mahendran? Has this House been informed of Interpol's response? Present these reports. Where are the ministers of law and order who were appointed for these? What have they done? They have not done anything. Why weren't they apprehended until yesterday, which was the last day of DIG Latif?
Following the party leaders' meeting, it has been decided to take up the debate on the formation of a national government tomorrow. Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, MP Anura Kumara Disanayaka, told News First that this decision has been reached amidst the objection of the opposition.
The
party leaders convened at 2:30 today. The proposal of forming a national government is to be taken up tomorrow with the agreement of only the ruling party. The proposal seeking to increase the number of ministers from 30 to 41 and the increase of ministerial portfolios to 48 and an increase in the number of deputy and state ministers to 45 from 40. If you wonder what are the parties that will join the national government, it is only the Muslim Congress that will be a part of it. But the Muslim Congress currently represents the government. Therefore, this attempt of Ranil Wickremesinghe seeking the flaws in the constitution to increase the ministerial portfolios should be defeated. With the ridiculous notion of this national government, this endeavour of Ranil Wickremesinghe to let his pets rob and misuse billions of money from the people of this country should be defeated. Also, the President has a very special responsibility at this juncture. The President will be giving away these portfolios. We are of the stance the President should not let this stubborn act of Ranil Wickremesinghe become a reality.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ හිල් හොයමින් මේ දරණ ප්‍රයත්නයට ජනාධිපතිවරයා ඉඩකඩ ලබා නොදිය යුතුයි.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa has also opposed the formation of a national government. According to the opposition leader, to take this matter up for debate based on the decision of the government is a complete misuse of the power that the government possesses.
We question the basis of this and we oppose the process of putting forward proposals according to false policies. The MPs have already been informed the parliamentary proceedings are going to be something else tomorrow. This was rejected by all the UPFM members. Not only that, the TNA also said this is false. The government is alone in this. They only have the Muslim Congress. Earlier I spoke about this joke they are trying to do by bringing in this proposal. The speaker also said this be postponed accordingly and carry out the parliamentary proceedings as usual. But disregarding that completely, the leader of the house said that it is important to hold the debate tomorrow and call for votes. We won't suspend standing orders according to the constitution. That might happen once in a while, but in case of an emergency, we have the right to suspend standing orders and present proposals. Few of the parties showed the objection, but the priority has to be given to the government.
UPFA parliamentarian Vasudeva Nanayakkara questioned the Prime Minister in Parliament today regarding an agreement that was signed between Sri Lanka and the USA in 2018.
Does this agreement provide for the sovereignty of our constitution and the non-aligned international policies of Sri Lanka? Has this received the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers? Was the Cabinet of Ministers informed? Is this not a threat to Sri Lanka? Based on the latest technology, the United States of America does not require to maintain large bases. The US Navy consists of ships that can accommodate more aircrafts than what Sri Lanka's Air Force owns. Not only the US Navy but the Navy of any other country can obtain temporary services from our ports and airports. Logistics is a part of this. However, we will not permit them to bring in weapons.
වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න පුළුවන් ලොජිස්ටික්ස් කියන්නේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ලොජිස්ටික්ස් වල කොටසක් තමයි ආපදාවලට උදව් කිරීම. අපි දෙන්නේ මේ ආයුධ එහෙම ගේන්න. විවිධ භාණ්ඩ
Who permitted the USA to bring in various items from their aircraft to Trincomalee and then load them to one of their aircrafts? What was the basis?
යුදනවකින් එන ගුවන් යානාවලට නවතෙම භාණ්ඩ පටවාගෙන එම යුදනවට ගෙන යාමට ඉඩ ලබා දී ඇත්තේ කවුද කුමන පදනමකින්ද? කොහෙද වාර්තාව තියෙන්නේ? ඉතින් කොහෙන්ද වාර්තාව කියන්නේ? මං ගත්තේ විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශය. තියෙනවනම් අපි හොයලා බලලා කියන්න. ඔව් විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් හොයලා බලන්න ඔබතුමා. හරිද? නැද්ද ඔබතුමාලා
During the previous regime, they entered into a ACSA agreement. Anything can be done through this agreement. So it all started from that point onwards.
මොනවද කතා කරන්නේ? එතුමාගෙන් යන්නේ කොහෙද ඇහුවාම මල්ලේ පොල් කියලා උත්තර දෙන්න. මම ඇහුවේ 2018 කිවිසුම ගැන. මේ මාගාව තියෙනවා මේ මං ඇහුව කොහෙද ඔක තිබුණේ? ඔක තිබුණේ නෑ නෑ කොහෙවත් තිබුණේ නෑ.
It is not available anywhere. I found it. Our MP is restricted from finding such information, as if the Prime Minister is not aware of what takes place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The agreement could have been cancelled while the ministry was under your purview for 2 weeks.
Lanka විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයේ උඩින් තියෙනවා. ඔව් තියෙනවා. මේ පළවෙනි පිටුවේම තියෙන්නේ ලංකා විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයේ ලියුමේ ශීර්ෂය. ඕකේ ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. මම මේ ගිවිසුම දිහා බැලුවා.
I went through this agreement. Where does it reveal that we have entered into an agreement with the United States of America? They have sent a letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2018 regarding the facilities that were granted under the Vienna Agreement, which was signed in 1995. These have been provided before. However, we have not arrived at a decision as yet.
විසුමේ යටතේ අර දෙන පාසුකම් ගැන ඒවා මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ගැන තාම තීරණයක් නැහැ. ඒ ලියවිල්ලම කියනවා this shall supersede all the previous agreements and the last page has the date as 2018. Ask him to deny it. මේ 95ක අලුත් කරන්න ඉල්ලලා තියෙන්නේ. මේක ගරු වීරවංශ මහත්මයා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන්ම Are you prepared to reply? No, I have finished. Yeah, he is not prepared to respond.
Cheng Shu-yuan, the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, issued a statement marking the 62nd anniversary of the establishment of the China-Sri Lanka diplomatic relations.
The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka in his statement says, quote, Sri Lanka always supports China firmly as well, unquote. He points out that Sri Lanka is the first country in South Asia to sign a trade agreement with China and supported the restoration of China's lawful seat in the United Nations. Speaking on the Belt and Road Initiative, the ambassador says China-Sri Lanka cooperation under the initiative has not only brought tangible benefits to the two countries, but also brought new opportunities to regional development. The statement further adds that on the occasion of the 62nd anniversary of the establishment of the China-Sri Lanka diplomatic relations, China welcomes Sri Lanka and other countries on board the express train of its development.
Politics Home reported today that British Baron Lord Naseby has said Sri Lanka is not a country that has to be monitored by the Western countries almost every day.
He said now is the time for closure and to let Sri Lanka stand on its own 2 feet. He further added, quote, I shall finish by reminding Her Majesty's government of the old adage, keep your friendships in repair. We may well need Sri Lanka's friendship again soon over Brexit, unquote.
The appeal filed at the Supreme Court requesting to dismiss the interim injunction issued barring Mahinda Rajapaksa, his cabinet ministers, deputy ministers and state ministers from functioning in their positions was taken up for consideration today.
The appeal was considered before a bench comprising of Justices Bhuvanekalu Vihare and Murthy Fernando. The respondents of the appeal filed at the Supreme Court informed court today that they are ready to withdraw the petition filed at the Court of Appeal where the interim injunction was issued against Mahinda Rajapaksa and his ministers. They requested for time to be granted as the signatures of all MPs who were party to the petition must be obtained. Counsel representing Mahinda Rajapaksa and the former cabinet ministers informed court that if this petition at the Court of Appeal is withdrawn, they too are willing to withdraw their appeal filed at the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the petition filed at the Court of Appeal requesting for an order to prevent Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe from holding his parliamentary seat as he is the stakeholder of a company that earns profits after dealing with the government is being considered. What will be the outcome of this petition? The people are watching.
Businessman Dudley Sirisena convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
I responsibly state that this microcredit scheme is being controlled by the underworld in this country. They are using political affiliations for this. This business is being run on daily collections from the innocent people in this country. Why can't the government initiate a program for this? The floating interest rate on these loans are over 75%. When the people can't pay the loans, the next step is to take sexual bribes. This is the method that is used to rob the innocent people of this country. The Inspector General of Police of this country is popular in the country as an actor, a singer and a dancer. Please fulfill the duties assigned to the positions you hold. The innocent people in the country who can't pay off these loans should lodge a complaint in the police regarding the threats that they face and their liabilities. This is the amount of loans that I have to pay. I pay 37 rupees and 64 cents as interest every second. I have no problem in paying off my debts, but my brothers in the general public are asking me for assistance to save their houses, especially because I am the brother of the President of this country. Therefore, against such a backdrop, Honorable President, Prime Minister, Opposition Leader, these microcreditors should be chased away. I will take the initiative in these areas for this. Today I am leaving the country for a few days. I am giving them a date. End your dealings by the 31st of March. I responsibly state that I will lead the mission to chase away microcreditors from the country and make an example of Sri Lanka.
He also spoke on the corruption engulfing the power sector in the country.
Recently, they have begun the process to bring in a cabinet paper to award a tender for the construction of an LNG power plant amid losses of 90 billion rupees. I saw a clear explanation given about this on Sirasa News. The company Samsung was rejected as a certain document submitted with the tender did not open on one specific computer, but it was accessible on other computers. Honorable President, I have no problem in speaking about this with you personally. You did not instruct me to say this either, but look at this. Who are the countries that use this LNG system to produce energy in the world? All of these indicate the use of biomass, clean coal, wind and sources like that, and not power produced by LNG. There is a 90 billion rupee loss from this tender. There must be some money that was paid to the unions. I will tell you about the next deal as well. It is the Ilmenite in Pulmude. At a time when the term of this government is coming to an end, politicians are scrambling to get these approved, sometimes even by force, so that they can line their pockets. I know my brother is going to reprimand me tonight, but I responsibly state that the people in parliament wearing tie and coat for the longest period of time are the best thieves in the country. One group is stirring racial tensions in the country and robbing the country. No matter which government comes into power or which president comes into power, the same ministers hold on to the ministerial portfolio. Why is this? Is there a bee's hive there? This kind of dirty politics should be done away with in this country.
Minister of Finance Mangala Samravira convened a media briefing today to explain about the strike action launched by the Customs Department opposing the removal of the Director General. PSM Charles, the Director General of the Customs, was also present.
Certain people tried to interpret the appointment of the Director General of the Customs to the position of head of the Revenue Monitoring Unit of the Finance Ministry as a massive political coup. A business mafia in the country handles the customs. There may be officials who assist this business mafia. For example, the two leading illegal trades that deprive the country of foreign exchange are the pepper and the areca nut peddling. They earn millions a day through these illegal trades. The areca nut peddling was introduced to the country during the Rajapaksa regime in 2012. Certain officials in our government also joined these illegal activities. There is a very strong mafia going on. The Director General extensively investigated this pepper peddling. She was conducting these investigations. A strict disciplinary control should be implemented when managing the port. I sought the approval of the cabinet to appoint her as the head of the Revenue Monitoring Unit, as she is an honest official. Those who are afraid of these investigations say that she was appointed to halt these investigations. The newspapers reported on a BMW scam that incurred a loss of 16 billion to the country. So she will take over her responsibilities again. Based on the report the Director General presents in a month's time about the irregularities that take place in the port, I am hoping to appoint a ministerial committee to look into these irregularities. We are already holding discussions for a retired judge to head this committee. We are also drafting the Customs Act that would be in line with the modern world. We will present the new Customs Act and make all these changes during the next few months. Yes, we have the names. We will reveal them once our investigations confirm the findings. I have been attempting to do this for 1.5 years, but she assured me that the report will be presented in a month or two.
ඉංගියක් තියෙනවා මට මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා කෑ ගහන්න බෑ ඉංගියන් ගැන හරිය ස්ථීර වශයෙන්ම දන්නකොට තමයි කියන්න පුළුවන් ඔබතුමාගේ ලේකම්වරයෙක්ට මේ බුද්ධ සමිතිය වලින් සහ විපක්ෂයෙන් චෝදනා එනවා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන්
Yes, I even asked her when this happened. I even had a one-to-one discussion with her at my place and questioned as to whether there is anyone from the ministry or from my personal staff involved in this. She vouched that nobody tried to influence her.
මට දියුරලා කිව්වා එහෙම කවුරුවත් මෙතුමියට බලපෑම් කළා නැහැ කියලා.
මා අඳුරේ මදුස්
ඊ අත්තරංගුවට ගැනීමත් සමග මාධ්‍ය දාලා හරහා විශාල ප්‍රචාරයක් යනවා ඔබතුමාගේ ලේකම්වරයෙකුත් ඒක අස්සේ ඉන්නවා කියලා. අන්න මගේ
My media secretary is right there. Another one is in the media ministry. I saw, but I have never had any involvement with that person.
ජීවිතේට බණ්ඩන්නේ මේ කොහෙවත්නම් මට සම්බන්ධව ඉඳලා නැහැ.
An events to appoint chairman and board of directors to institutions which come under the purview of the Ministry of Science and Technology was held in Colombo today.
The event was held under the patronage of the non-cabinet minister of Science, Technology and Research, Sujiva Senasinghe. Mr. Anil De Silva, the CEO of Kevilton Electrical Products, which is an arm of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, was appointed as a board member of the management of the Industrial Technology Institute.
The little knowledge I gained from this ministry was that science and technology and research, not a lot of money is dedicated through our budgets for this. One thing I have to tell you that we have got our foundation right. That people may not even feel it. This is what I tell them all the time. We always criticize the politicians. We always criticize the our own people, intellects, the media. We have been ranked as the #1 country for the destination for tourism, and those figures don't come automatically. A lot of work has been done. Good governance, even though we still don't feel it, that has contributed a lot for our development, our exports.
Ahead of the 2019 budget, the Lanka IOC, a publicly traded unit of the Indian Oil Corporation, says that price adjustments should take place based on international prices.
Speaking to Newsfirst, Senior Vice President of Lanka IOC PLC, Siddharth Agarwal, said if the government decides to change the prices even on a daily basis, Lanka IOC doesn't have any objections. He, however, adds this has to take place based on international prices. The Economy Next has reported that in the December quarter, Lanka IOC lost 986 million rupees, with gross profits falling to 67 million rupees from 277 million rupees a year earlier.
Plenipotentiary Ethiopian ambassador to Sri Lanka and India spoke about the development activities in his country on our Newsline program this morning.
We have put in place a very attractive investment policy as well, a development initiative in the country, and the job creation schemes have been already placed. As you know, we have 45 universities at this stage. When we started this government, there are only 2 state universities in the country. Close to 5% of our GDP is going to health and to education. There is a big hope in this country and population among our people that development is possible. I think your investors and the businessmen are looking and going there, and this is a very good initiative.
Fitch Ratings has said it will amend the Sri Lankan national rating scale to reflect changes in the relative creditworthiness among Sri Lankan issuers following the downgrade of the country's sovereign rating to B from B+ on the 3rd of December 2018.
The recalibration will result in rating actions for some issuers with Sri Lankan national ratings. Fitch said it anticipated a reduction in the number of AAA rated issuers after the recalibration exercise is finalized, expected by end February, as a result of the sovereign downgrade and the resultant changes to the relative rankings of credits in the country. National scale ratings are a risk ranking of issuers in a particular market designed to help local investors differentiate risk. Sri Lanka's national scale ratings are denoted by a unique identifier, LKA. Fitch adds this identifier to reflect the unique nature of the Sri Lankan national scale. National scales are not comparable with Fitch's international rating scales or with other countries' national rating scales.
Excavations continued at the Mannar mass grave site for the 139th day today.
Metal samples recovered from the site have been sent to the government analyst for tests. Chief Judicial Medical Officer in charge of the Mannar mass grave excavations, Dr. Samindra Rajapaksa, said another batch of metal samples recovered from the site will be sent for tests in the near future. Dr. Rajapaksa explained further on the number of remains recovered from the site.
Now we have recovered 312 individual skeletons. From that we removed 297 skeletal remains and we stored in Manor Magistrate Courts. From 312 skeletons we identified as skeletons belongs to children. The number is 26.
In addition, the report on the bone samples sent to Beta Analytic radiocarbon dating services in the United States for carbon dating is to be received in another 2 weeks.
Welcome back. The promotional activities of Sports First Alliance Platinum Awards was carried out in the Hambantota district today.
The campaign saw its 22nd consecutive day today after the Sports First team obtained blessings from the Ruhunu Maha Kataragama Devalaya. The campaign is to cover all districts in Sri Lanka. Sports First Alliance Platinum Awards is being held to felicitate the sportsmen and women who have succeeded in national and international levels in the sporting arena. Today's promotional program commenced from the Debaraveva National School, and the students in the Hambantota district were introduced to the sports of rugby, baseball and football. Netmi Megavarna of the Debaraveva National School was awarded the Platinum Gold Medal. After the conclusion of a successful campaign in Hambantota, the team carried the torch of hope to Matara.
And that's a wrap from all of us here at the Newsfirst English News Desk. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shahan Jarampati. Good night and take care.